I was wondering if you'd indulge me in a quick round of Trump trolling or Trump truthing.
Sure, let's do it.
Okay, good.
Love it.
Rapid fire. Greenland joining America.
Definitely Trump truthing.
Oh. Canada becoming a 51st state.
Trump truthing all the way. And the Canadians would benefit greatly, let me tell you that.
Eliminating the IRS.
I think that is an optimistic goal, and the president, so I would say we're on the side of truthing there for sure. And the president, again, wants to see tax cuts, and he wants to see this massive revenue that we can gain from tariffs as well, which will create the external revenue service. So that's a definitive goal for sure.
Okay, good. And most importantly, Trump 2028.
Trump trolling, although the hats are flying off the shelves. Yes. Link, go ahead.
So one thing I've noticed in the first 100 days is that the White House is crawling with kids. You have a young, beautiful baby boy. There are babies everywhere. There's so many young folks on staff who have kids. But the last 4 years under Joe Biden, parents were really stressed and ravaged. They had to take on 2 or 3 extra jobs. Depression rates were up. Suicide rates were up. You're a very high-profile young mother who seems to juggle and balance it all beautifully. What advice do you have to young parents out there who are starting their careers, having kids, building families, and trying to find that balance so desperately?
Yeah, well, it's a great question. And first, to the heart of your premise, it's true. The president has empowered not just me as a young mother in this role, but there are so many new moms and dads on our senior staff in the West Wing, but also across the entire administration. There are working moms and dads who are owing our country public service for President Trump while raising young families. And the president really empowers us to do that. And I commend him for that. He doesn't get enough credit for it. But as for the president is implementing policies every day to uplift young families and young people. He talked so much about young people and talked directly to young people so much on the campaign trail. It really, I think, inspires him when he is around young people in a young audience. And he wants to restore the American dream for the next generation, not just our generation of young folks, but our children and our grandchildren. What does that look like? Home ownership, the ability to afford a home, to live, to have a good paying job. That's part of this effort to onshore jobs, because you have an entire generation going to these incredibly expensive and liberal higher education universities, coming out saddled with debt and then unable to get a good paying job. The president wants to put an end to that, and so that young people can provide for their families and truly live the American dream. So to young people around the country, the president hears you, he sees you, he loves you, and he wants to uplift you. And all of the policies he's implementing every day are to provide a more prosperous and safe and free America for future generations. You're welcome. Sure.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi,
Karoline.
you too.
Thank you so much for the time.
Sure.
Tagging off of Link's question about young people, one of the most pressing challenges for Gen Z right now is the lack of home ownership. As of 2025, I believe the median age is 38 years old of first-time home buyers, which is, a hindrance to starting families for a lot of people. How does the Trump administration plan on tackling this in the next 4 years?
It's a major issue. As you mentioned, that's directly impacting young people and young families. And the president is, I think, tackling it head on already. The reason that homes have become so unaffordable is because of the massive inflation crisis caused by the previous administration. Not just the cost of a home, but everything that goes into building a new home went up and through the roof, right? We also saw mortgage rates reach incredible highs under the previous administration. So a few things. The president wants to bring down the cost of living, which he is already doing, as I mentioned in my opening remarks, which will increase our supply of homes across the country. But he also wants to bring down mortgage rates and interest rates to make it easier for young people and all people to borrow money, to take out those loans, to buy your first home. And so we got to increase the supply, bring down costs, and bring down interest rates and mortgage rates. And by the way, those are all things the president successfully did in his first term. When he left office, inflation was a record low, 1.4%. Interest rates, mortgage rates also hit record lows in his first term. So this is a proven economic formula that works. It takes time to get there. We are in the process of the golden age. The president and the admin are slashing regulation every day, cutting red tape, cutting costs, and we need, again, Congress to pass those tax cuts to put more money back in people's pockets so they have greater purchasing power as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sure.
Patrice, and we go with Independent Women and WMAL.
Oh, great.
We love working with the administration to really tout policies that work for families and work for small businesses in this country. Next week is Small Business Week, and I know that the SBA will be, championing all the small businesses, the millions in this country, almost half of which are women-owned. But I'd love to find out what the president feels about independent contractors who are not typical W-2 employees, not 9-to-5 workers, but who hang their own shingle. They're 1099 workers. We saw the Biden administration really try to crack down on that small business entrepreneurial spirit, and we're hopeful that the administration would overturn what the Biden administration did and maybe even work with Congress to pass some lasting changes, codify some lasting changes that would protect, your ability to be self-employed, your ability to be a small business owner.
Well, the president is a businessman at heart himself, right? He's a real estate developer, and I think that's a large reason the American people elected him the first time and the second time, because they trust in him. And small businesses are the backbone of our American economy. I come from a small business family myself, and the president knows what small business families need and independent contractors need, entrepreneurs need. You need less government in the way. You need less regulation. You need low energy costs, low taxes, a low cost of living, a low cost of goods. And that's exactly what the president is focused on doing, while simultaneously, effectively leveraging tariffs to protect our middle class and our working class and our manufacturing base. You look at our auto industry. Think about Michigan. It used to be the heartland of the auto industry of the world. It was the auto capital of the world. And unfortunately, so many of those jobs have gone overseas. And so the president wants to protect good paying jobs here at home and unleash the might of our economy for small business owners. And that includes removing red tape and cutting taxes. And as for independent contractors and what the president would hope to do with Congress, we'll definitely check back in on that and get you an answer, because it's an important question. You're welcome. Sure.
Hi, Will up to the National Pulse. You kind of gave us an overview of negotiations between Ukraine and Russia 100 days in. What would the next steps look like, though, if we don't reach an agreement by, say, this summer? And also, can you give us an update on the rare earth minerals deal with Ukraine? And is there any kind of response from the administration to Greenlandic Foreign Minister Vivian Motzfeldt and some of her comments about maybe seeking aid with China?
Sure. To your first question about the critical minerals deal, the president is confident that will be signed. Ukraine needs to sign it. They should sign it. It's not just good for the United States to recoup the billions of tax dollars we've spent and onshore some of those critical minerals, but certainly it's good for the Ukrainian people when this war is over to rebuild their country. It's an economic partnership between the United States and Ukraine. That's what the president envisions, and he wants Ukraine to sign that deal. He's confident that they will. As for what it would look like later down the road, I don't want to get ahead of the president, obviously, but again, I will reiterate, he's increasingly grown frustrated in the amount of time our Secretary of State recently said, there's not much more time or effort the United States has to give to this effort, and so we need both sides to come to the table to negotiate. As for Greenland, I hadn't seen those comments. If true, I'm sure they are. Certainly an interesting strategy to cozy up to communist China. Greenland needs the United States of America. We subsidize their national security and their defense. And the president has rightfully pointed out the great strategic importance that Greenland serves for not just our national security and economic interests, but for our country and for the world as a whole. And we can't allow Chinese or Russian influence to continue to infiltrate places like Greenland or the Panama Canal, I may add. Into the back.